Today I'm going to share 10 ways that you can level up your crochet really quickly and easily. Hi there, I'm Lucy Kate. I'm a crochet designer. I predominantly design amigurumi, which is crochet toys. I've been doing it for about a decade and I've made some mistakes along the way, but also had some successes and experiences that I wanted to share with you today to help you get the very best out of your crocheting experience and maybe to hurry along your journey a little bit for the impatient folks among us. We'll start with some slightly more obvious options and then glide smoothly into those that may surprise you, but trust me, I'm confident. So the first one that cannot be said enough is practice. Practice and practice and practice. And practice the things that you aspire to and the foundational building blocks of them. When you begin, if you start on a granny square but your total aim and goal in life is to make toys, then that's great. Get a few granny squares under your belt and then move on to your magic circles. And if you struggle with them, make them repeatedly. Make a magic circle, undo it. Make another magic circle, undo it, until you're really confident with the technique. Practice working in the round. Practice making basic circles. And a great way to make that feel like it's less of a wasted effort is you can make expanding, increasing round magic circles and then turn them into beautiful coasters. And also that's a great opportunity to practice your colour changes too. The more you do something, the more natural it becomes and the more automatically your body will make those movements. And it's some very fine motor movements involved in crochet, especially when you get to using those smaller hook sizes. And the more that you practice manipulating them, the better you'll be. 2. Don't take giant leaps. Improve your skills incrementally. That means don't go from a basic beginner pattern that's basically just an oval with safety eyes to something elaborate and intricate. Build it up slowly. Go from very simple shapes to adding a bit of definition to hand sewing on the features and then maybe working hair with chains. Just move up nice and slowly. Don't pick something to start off with that's super basic and beginner, and once you've got that down, then move on to your end goal if it's a huge step away from that first one. Just move up slowly and incrementally and you'll feel so much more confident for it. There is nothing that kills your confidence like trying something that is too hard too soon. 3. Frog freely. So in crochet, frogging is just unraveling and undoing. It's one of the benefits of working with yarn, at least most yarn types, is that you can undo it and reuse the same yarn again, so you're not wasting the fibre at all. You can reuse a lot of yarns, especially wool blends and cotton blends, several times to make different things without losing the sort of quality or the integrity of the product. So make something and then undo it and make it again. So we're back to practice. Or if you make something and you're not happy with it, just unravel it. There's no point in having an increasing collection of things that remind you of where you went wrong unless you're really proud of the steps that you take along your journey. Brilliant, keep it if you want to keep it, but don't worry about undoing things. Frogging work has a term that's frequently used for it because we all do it all the time. And that goes for undoing a few rounds within your work as well. It's no big deal. Okay, sometimes it feels like the end of the world when something goes wrong, but it's really not. Undo a couple of rounds, it's fine, we all do it all the time. 4. Try using a different yarn weight for the same project. It's really interesting in terms of crocheting skills that there is a difference between working in, for example, and not just between double knitting yarn that's relatively fine and super bulky yarn that's really chunky. Just working between the different weights is different. Play around with the different weights yarns, look at the different scales of things that you're making, and you will find that when you go back to what you were doing before, your technique has improved or your focus has improved or you're more comfortable with what you're doing. Expanding within your comfort zone can make a really big difference to your intrinsic skill levels. And along those lines, number 5, look at different types of yarn. So most of us start off with acrylic yarns, and if you're like me, I still use acrylic yarns on a regular basis. I like them. They come in lots of fun colours and they're relatively cheap. But working with different fibres feels really different, especially there are some that are like cotton yarns are quite harsh to work with. Some wool is so soft that it's almost slippery, which provides different challenges as well because the level of friction is different, changes how you do your tension. using a different yarn fibre is a really different experience. And then leave out the novelty yarns until you're feeling a bit more confident. But once you get to that point, then my goodness, that's a whole different leveling up, next level challenge right there. Number 6, switch focus. So I said right at the beginning, you know, don't keep making blankets if you want to make toys. But if you're feeling at a point where you want to level up what you're doing, swap to a different type of crocheting. And that doesn't just mean like toys to blankets to accessories. Trying to make something that is a different sort of shape and built in a different way really helps you to get that sort of basic bottom of the pyramid level of skills up to a higher level, and you will find that it impacts the other things that you do as well. I relatively recently, maybe 6 months ago, learnt corner to corner crochet blankets, which I'd never done before in all the years I've been doing this. And genuinely, it gave me some insights that I hadn't had before, and I now always have one on the go in the background for when I just don't want to switch my brain on at all. It's a fabulous addition to my repertoire, and I'm really, really glad to have changed over. I wouldn't have known that I'd liked it if I hadn't have tried it. 7, learn a new stitch. In my brain, I'd love to think that I lived in a world where I could learn a new stitch every week. I think I would learn so many stitches, but at the end of the day, we don't have the time. But maybe if you aim to learn like one new stitch a month, like I'm gonna learn bullion stitch because it looks like a challenge and I want to be able to do it. Find a slightly out there stitch. You don't have to go nuts and make a whole blanket or jacket of it, but make a sampler up of it, get confident with it. It will be transferable. And again, I always go back to the toys because that's my main focus. But there are several things that I've learned from doing other projects, learning different stitches that I've then been able to apply to my toys to make them look even cooler. Change styles. And that is not the same as change topics, right? So if you like making blankets and your taste is modern, why not go to the really traditional designs? Or have a try with florals, with the 3-dimensional flowers that come out of it. Changing styles to a style that's not your natural taste can really, really push you to learn new skills, and who knows, you might like them. Now this one's hard for some of us, easier for others, but get a friend to critique your work. Ideally a crochet friend, but it doesn't have to be. It just has to be a friend who you know won't pull their punches or soften the blow. Strong foundation to the friendship required for this one. But some of the best advice I get on my toys is from my husband, who is a wonderful, kind man, but he can't lie. That's why I don't often ask him for his advice about the toys. But he has the twin guns of being honest, really quite honest, and a good artist. So he's got a really good eye for shapes and design. And some of my toys would have been dead in the water projects that I abandoned had I not shown them to him, and he had gone, well, I think the nose needs to be a bit longer, or you've put the limbs on in a slightly unnatural place, or how about you change the position? And although I've got to be honest, inwardly, I'm probably outwardly, because my face doesn't lie even when my mouth is, but it's so helpful. Getting someone to critique your work, someone you're comfortable with, or someone you're never going to see again, get them to critique your work. My goodness, does it make a big difference. And finally, I cannot try and sell this as a concept enough because it is so much fun. Try designing. I made a whole video recently on sort of the first stages of getting into designing crochet, and I'm going to make a whole series of them, I think, if people like that, if that's well received. But try designing, give it a go. If you're confident with some basic shapes, have a look at an animal you like, imagine what shapes they are and try putting them together and see what you come up with. It might not work immediately, but it will hugely, hugely help your artistic expression and you to take your crochet up a level. What do you think? Do you agree with my ideas? Is there another way that you think that you can really help to progress what you're doing? I think I probably should have mentioned posture as well. I have terrible posture. I'm sitting on my legs at the moment, but there are ways to sit and crochet that are much sort of more efficient and in terms of your comfort, but also in terms of how quickly you can crochet. I'll make a whole video about that if you want one. let me know. Anyway, let's chat about improving and leveling up our crochet in the comments section below, and I will see you there. Happy crocheting!